Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another episode of Master Phil in your corner with your host, Master Phil.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Master Phil here with Master Phil in your corner with my trusty partner in crime here, Dougie Fresh Friedman, in the lovely studios, Undefeated Media Studios, located in Wyckoff, New Jersey. Doug, it's funny because most of the time, a lot of times we have like male guests on.
Yeah.
Okay? But then we go on these jags where we'll have like 3 or 4 female guests in a row.
Nice.
Yeah. So today is no exception. We are having a female guest on.
Nice.
And actually, I think we've only had female guests on this calendar year.
Cool.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, just
absolutely.
spread the love, man. So this our guest today.
Yeah.
Is I actually met her also on LinkedIn. I'll tell you, LinkedIn I find is much more professional platform, social media platform.
Yeah.
And additionally, hey, if anyone at LinkedIn is listening to this right now, hit me up and become a sponsor. I'm giving you a free plug right now. But even like their daily rundown, I read the daily rundown every day. Yeah, it's got some really good information in that. Yeah, I post commentary on it and so forth. From time to time, but just reading it, it just keeps me attuned with what's going on in the world.
Nice. And
they seem to have a pretty unbiased, take on it. It's pretty much facts.
Nice.
No editorial nonsense. So you just pretty much get the facts straight out there. But before we bring our guest on, we do have to talk about our sponsors, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we got philross.com for virtual training, equipment, seminars. We now also have Fit Team available there as well for nutritional products and drinks. We have Dragon Door products there for kettlebells and Nora grips and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
All available at the philross.com site. And we also have we now have the triple play there, right?
Yes.
So the triple play is about 500 training videos of various disciplines here. We have martial arts, obviously, boxing, kickboxing, weapons training, tons of kettlebell and bodyweight workouts. And you get the triple play here with the American Eagle Live.
Yeah.
You get Survival Strong.
Nice.
And I just added a ton of videos to Survival Strong workout videos.
Nice.
And of course, the Kettlebell Workout Library.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. Oh, and if you want to hone your kettlebell skills, and let's say you can't make it to one of my Body-Bell Method seminars, which we do have one on March 29th in Rye, New York, we have the Secrets of Kettlebell Training. And that's available for only $69 for all 3 modules. It's a steal. It's a steal for that iron.
Absolutely.
So if you want to learn how to do over 100 different kettlebell movements, check out the Secrets of the Kettlebell Workout and the Kettlebell. That's what the Kettlebell Workout Library. Everything's on there. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Absolutely.
So definitely check out the site, philross.com. So without further ado, I met our next guest on LinkedIn, and she makes some interesting posts. Of course, anything martial arts I'm into. Anything that's going to help other people out, I'm into. Anything that's going to empower people, I love. And this person, our next guest, does embody all of that, and that's what attracted me to what she was doing. So then we just went back and forth a few times and got to kind of know each other a little bit on the social media platform LinkedIn. And I said, what, she'd be a great guest, especially with what's going on today. So our guest here is a author of 3 books. She's a podcaster, and she's been doing martial arts a very long time. And, she's 2nd degree black belt, and she had trains with her husband, their kids trained and everything. And, kind of similar to some of the things that I've been doing too, but without holding back anymore, let's bring in Andrea Harkins. Welcome, Andrea.
Hi, thank you so
Hey,
much. And I'm very honored to be one of the female guests on your show. That's always a
yes.
good thing.
Yes. Like this year we've had three female guests on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah. It's
we're
good,
out
man.
here. We're out here.
Exactly. And there's a lot of you.
Yeah, yeah. We're not seen as much. I think that's something unique maybe about me is that I really do put myself out there. And
Yes.
it's, sometimes it's not easy to do that. And especially as women,
Mhm.
there's a lot of weirdos out there. You have to like really
Yeah.
moderate what you do and what you say. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad you
Yeah. But
found me and I'm excited to be
yeah.
here.
Well, you bring up a good point because especially, and look, there's a lot of great women martial artists, as we all know, but it's still kind of seen as a male dominated arena.
Sure.
But to me, I think that every woman should train. That's
Absolutely.
that's me personally. I really do. It's so important for a lot of different reasons, and we're gonna touch on all of those. But the flip side is that you do have to be careful of who sees you,
Yes.
and then especially you're an attractive woman, you're in good shape. People get little little weird.
Yeah.
you know, it's
Well, thank
funny.
you for the nice compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. I have, just to throw this out there as far as
Mhm.
how female martial artists are seen by the general public or on social media.
Yeah.
Instagram, I post a lot of kick pictures.
Mhm.
And I post kick pictures because to me they're very empowering. They're very empowering to look at. I'm not always trying to show a correct technique. I'm trying to show flexibility. I'm trying to show uniqueness.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
get a ton of foot fetish followers.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, it's a constant barrage of, weird stuff that I have to battle that I'm sure men don't get the same type of responses to their photos.
Yeah,
So
no one's hit on
definitely
my feet. Yeah, no one's hit
uh,
on my feet at all. Hey, you know what though? I heard recently last it's funny you bring this up. Last week I was talking to one of my clients. I'm also do personal clients and I don't run the big classes anymore. And he was telling me, he's a college student, that there's a girl in his class that makes 70 to $80,000 a year by posting pictures of her feet and people click on it. I'm like,
yes,
are you insane? He goes, yeah, she's putting herself through college. She's got a car, an apartment, the whole thing,
yeah, yeah,
because she posts pictures of her feet. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know, just do it.
People ask me all the
Just do it.
time. Yeah, people ask me all the time. I won't personally do something like that. But I don't have. I mean, I post pictures all the time anyway. See, but
Yeah, I know.
anyway, it's just one of those weird struggles that women have by putting themselves out there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
dating requests. Are you married? Non-martial art related content
Oh yeah,
because we're
yeah.
just not always taken seriously.
Right.
So
But
that's one of the things I try to, really overcome.
mhm, mhm.
But it is what it is.
It's funny because I was looking at her, I'm like, oh, wow, she looks like a good martial artist. Let me see what she's doing. And I like a lot of the messages you were putting forth too.
Yeah,
So why don't we talk about how empowering the martial arts is, especially for women. I mean, it's for it could be
yeah,
universal, but let's just focus
yeah,
on how it helps women because no matter what, you're smaller and weaker
yes,
across the board. I mean, that's
yeah,
it's people want to argue, biology, gender, whatever, but we have 22,000 types of cells in our bodies, and men and women differ in 6,500 of them. So a full 1/3 of our
yeah,
cells are different. So I'm not saying one's better, one's worse. Some are better at something, some are better at
mhm,
others. But we're looking at it. You're smaller, generally weaker. How can we, how does the martial arts mindset help empower women?
yeah. This is very important and something I talk about a lot because my mission actually is a blend of positivity on martial arts, and that's why you see those empowering messages usually when I post a
Mhm.
pic or if I post a video. It's usually a combination of encouragement and positivity using martial arts sort of as that tool. But for women, it's just extremely important. I can look back even in my own case when I was in my early 20s. I
Mhm.
really didn't have a lot of confidence. I didn't know what to do with my life. It was just a weird phase. But I never wanted to speak in public. I was always kind of back in the shadows. I never pursued the things that really interested me because of fears of failure and that kind of thing. And a lot of women, a lot of people in general struggle with this, but women typically do as well. And I didn't want to learn a martial art. I had no interest in martial arts. It was my husband. He wanted to go. He said, let's try it. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. We were newly married, so this was 33 years ago.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It'll be 34 years in this month that we've been married. So he said, let's try it. And I went to that first class and I hated it. I was like, people, wait a minute. I was like, wait, I mean, I was always taught to be, like a lovely woman kind of thing. But people are punching and yelling and kicking and breaking boards. And you want me to do this? So it's kind of funny. But I continued because he had that interest in it. And one day it clicked and I thought, wait a minute, I kind of like this and I'm actually kind of good at it. I had no athletic background. So I was instantly empowered. I was instantly recognized all of the things I had not been doing, that I was not living an inspired life, that I was not empowered, that I didn't realize I could protect myself. And all of those things came together for me when I began learning martial arts and liking martial arts. And so that happens for every woman. I have a podcast. I'll throw a plug out there for it. It's called the Martial Arts Woman Podcast.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Martial Arts Woman Podcast, where I interview martial art women only. And they talk about this very topic, how they became empowered. A lot of them had suffered abuse, domestic abuse, sexual assaults. Some just wanted to get fit and some just wanted to, become empowered and learn self-defense. But there's always that underlying mission for women in martial arts to become stronger, to become empowered in their mind, to believe in themselves, right? You have to first believe in yourself, but then also to have the tools and skills to protect yourself. And that's what martial arts does for everyone, but for women especially. As you said, we're generally smaller. We're not as strong physically, but martial arts teaches you how to use your own body and your own leverage, which is something we don't recognize or understand until we learn it. So those are some of the key, aspects of becoming empowered through martial arts as a woman.
Yeah, because you're going against a larger foe, and if you use the element of surprise, a couple of good moves, you're very good at them. You can thwart that attack. I mean, I have one situation that is always the biggest one. I mean, I have tons of them that my women have used and have come out pretty good, relatively unscathed in defensive tactics situations. But one in particular, I had this one girl. She was a beautiful girl, like model. She not like a model. She was a model, and she was going to college down in D.C. And she was, she was walking back from campus, but she had actually trained with me for over 4 or 5 years. She was tough, man. She could fight. She was tough. She didn't look like a man. She could hit hard. She was in great shape. She was only like about 110 pounds, and she's walking across campus to go to study late at night. And a very large man with a knife attacked her. I mean, this guy, had her by like, 200-300 pounds. He was huge. And she put him in the hospital. Okay?
Yeah.
Put him in the hospital. And he was wanted in 4 rapes. Okay. And it's funny because the way I found out, it's incredible, right? Her mother came to my studio and started hugging and kissing me. I'm like, not that I minded, but I'm like, why? She goes, well, you saved my daughter's life. That is a very dramatic story. I hope that no one ever has to have that situation occur.
But it happens. Yeah, it happens all the time. Like I said on my podcast, I mean, a large percentage of the women that I interview about their martial art experiences in life, a large percentage have been attacked in some way, and that's really scary. That's really that's why it's so important to have some self-defense. And as you said, the element of surprise is very important. You can have very simple techniques, which I really promote I promote simplicity a lot of times in self-defense techniques.
Yes.
But because the person doesn't know what to expect, that element of surprise and technique really can, help you overcome that type of situation. So the training is very important, as well as that mindset that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, one of the other aspects that's been brought to the forefront, is this incredible rise in violent crimes. If you look at a lot of these different cities, these violent crimes are up over 30%. I mean, gosh, a woman got shoved off a subway platform a few weeks ago. I mean, there's gun attacks, there's knives attacks, there's strong arm attacks, physical attacks, and look, as we all know, a criminal does not want to go and face a real foe. They want someone that they can beat. They want someone they can take advantage of, because they're predatory animals. If they wanted to be challenged, they'd come train a martial arts school or run a marathon or, go into a weightlifting competition or something. They would do something that challenges them. They don't want to challenge. They want to take someone out. So I know you talked about some of these simple techniques, but what is a type of, if someone wanted to come to you and they said, hey, I'm a 120-pound female, I want to learn to defend myself. So what type of regimen are you going to put them on, or what are you going to tell them as far as their training and so forth?
Yeah. For me, the first element of self-defense is awareness. Mm-hmm. It's not a physical endeavor. It's not a physical movement. It is understanding time and place, where you are and what you're doing and what's happening around you. That's the most important key. And, let's be honest, if you're a woman and you're out and it's dark and you're alone, if you are at the gas station by yourself, if you are wearing sexy clothing, you become a target. That's all there is to it. And, women sometimes get mad at me, like, no, we're as strong as guys. Yes, you can defend yourself, but where you place yourself and when you place yourself there is ultimately important as a self-defense component. The awareness of what's happening around you. But to know that there are certain situations that if you put yourself in those, you're more likely to run into some situation that you don't want to experience. It's unfair, right? We have rights to live our lives as we please.
Absolutely.
But, why should we have to constantly look over our shoulders? But we do.
Yep.
And so awareness is the first thing. But as far as
you bring up, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, as far as like physical movements, grabs, throws, and that kind of thing, I really make it as simple as possible. And I use really what I call martial art concepts. So for instance, if somebody's grabbing you, your wrists, your neck, your body, you have to think about what it is they're grabbing you with. It's very simple. It's usually just their hands. And that is where you need to break the weakness. And you can do that in many ways. So that's sort of one of the concepts that I teach, and also how to use your body to, like throw somebody or use their momentum against them. Those kind of concepts, I think, are what I focus on. And that's why I say simple, tasks and things like that.
Yeah. I want to roll back to something you brought up before about the awareness. Yeah. In my book, Survival Strong, I call it the 3 A's. Awareness, and you brought up avoidance. Try to avoid it, right? By you're aware of your surroundings, aware of where you are, aware of who you're with too, because you may have responsibility for someone. If you're with a child, an older person, but hey, if you're with a bunch of friends who can fight, it's a little bit different, right? But your avoidance, you want to avoid these situations.
Yes.
Do everything you can to avoid them. Know where you park your car in the mall parking lot. Know, park where you can have a street light there underneath it, where your vehicle's underneath it. Avoid situations that are going to be bad. Like, if you go to a rave, like especially these younger, go to a rave, that bad things happen there. And then the last one you're talking about is action. So those are 3 A's.
Yeah.
Awareness, avoidance, and action. So when you're talking about the action, we're talking about very simple techniques. And some people have the misconception that I'll just kick him in the groin. Okay, yeah, it's one of the good techniques, but I don't rely on it. I mean, I know
I
people
honestly call that a distraction and not a technique.
Yes.
Spitting in someone's face or using your forehead to, strike them or going for the groin is not always going to stop a person, but you really need to escape. And for me, I always say, they're like, people are, especially guys, who are like, oh, well, would you fight him? What would you do? No, I want to get away. And this is what I tell women, even if you know how to fight, you don't want to fight. You want to escape and run and get out of there. I mean, I know that doesn't always happen that easily, but that's the goal, to escape and get away. That's why self-defense is so important. To have self-defense to me is a little different than just martial arts. I mean, you learn self-defense in martial arts, but martial arts are arts, they're fighting arts, but you don't always learn the application when you're doing a form or whatever. So,
Oh, B-roll, we got any water for me, buddy? Thanks. Your water
bottle.
So sometimes I'm talking all day and I wind up getting dry. But I bring up important points. There's a difference between sport and art and self-defense, defensive tactics. Does being able to throw good kicks and punches and so forth help you? 100%. But the mindset is different, as well as the application.
Uh-oh.
Get this man.
There we go.
Thanks. Woo. Going full dry mode.
But it does bring the martial arts themselves bring that sense of confidence that you need if you're in a situation. You need that confidence to know that you can protect yourself if you have to. So it does work in tandem with self-defense, although you can just take self-defense courses or classes and use just self-defense in your life. So
one of my problems with people just doing that is that I don't think they do enough repetition in order to develop what I call instinctive technique, because you know that you can't hesitate. If you're in a situation, I'm going, oh gosh, I'm going to do this. No, you're just going to react. If anybody's ever been attacked, they just have to react. Look, I mean, personally, I've been on the wrong end of guns and knives and clubs. I'm still here to talk about it. So obviously I did something right, but I wasn't thinking at the time. I just reacted.
True. I mean, that is a caveat to what I'm saying is self-defense really, it needs to be practiced. And for me, now after all these years, like there are just certain things that I think I would automatically do if somebody touched the back of my neck or if somebody grabbed me. There's just certain ones that I would just automatically do because of the repetition.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, I'd like to at least say that it does bring an awareness. In other words, if I teach that concept about somebody grabs you around the neck, really, if you can break through, if you can just break through like their thumbs, then you can release that. That's just more of a concept. It works for wrists and so if it's just going to be someone who's coming to self-defense class once or twice, I at least want them to keep in mind, what is it that I actually need to do for this type of grab, as opposed to an actual specific technique, but I need to break through, this grip.
Right. See where the attack is directed and what the opportunities for you are to hit, strike. Yeah. But the thing is that and I just want to roll back to the technique aspect. When concepts obviously are better than just specific techniques, because you never know what's going to happen in a street situation. It's uncontrolled. But the thing is that you have to practice punching and kicking so that you can develop the power enough to do something that's going to affect this person. Look, you took a long time to develop your power. Look, I took a long time to develop my power and my striking. Everyone does. Yeah. But I'm confident in it because I know it works now. But if someone's just taking a self-defense course, I mean, it's good for awareness. It's good for knowing that there's something you can do, but you have to practice it. I mean, that's why I have I don't know if you're aware, I have a self-defense video series. I'm still selling that. I filmed that in 2005, 2006, the whole series, and it's called Save. And Amazon still sells it. And it's funny because I got a phone call from a former law enforcement officer down in Texas the other day. and Amazon was out of my level 2. So he asked me if I had any in stock. I go, yeah, I got them. He's like, oh, it's you, Master Phil. I'm like, yeah, it was kind of funny. He's like, I got all your other videos. So, but the thing is that I created that because I was I was training police officers for the DCJ, Department of Criminal Justice, and people would do the academies, and then they'd forget about it.
Yeah.
So the same thing if someone takes a self-defense course. Okay, great. And there's a lot of great martial artists out there. There's a lot of great people who know self-defense tactics and so forth. But you have to practice it. And so that's why, I think that these online training or video training, however you're going to do it, if you can't make it there in person, at least do that so you keep your skills sharp.
Yeah.
But, again, nothing's better than training directly with a person. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But, so now there's another thing I wanted to touch on too, with all this empowerment and especially for women, because women typically suffer from anxiety and depression more than men. How about this empowerment, this physical activity, this release of the endorphins that occurs through training in a good, hard martial arts workout? I don't think there's anything like it, but have you noticed that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, and because you're sort of a fitness guru, I think you'll agree that many types of exercise can give you those endorphins and give you that relief from stress and anxiety. Martial arts is one of those. If you go to a martial art class or you're sparring, or if you're, at the gym and you're just really focused on whatever workout you're doing, both of those things take your mind off your concerns and issues and worries, and gives you the chance to just be, just be in the moment. And that's very important for anxiety. It's very important. I'll tell you, I get grumpy if I don't work out. I recognize it right away. I'm like, why am I so grumpy? Or why do I feel like I actually feel stiff if I don't work out? So it really does benefit you in such great ways. Martial arts, they give you the empowerment, the confidence, they build your mindset, but they also give you that ability to release stress. I mean, imagine kicking a bag, punching a bag, sparring, doing all of those things are so intense, so physical, and they really give you the opportunity to step back from life, right? And when you're finished, you have this new perspective. You have this new feeling of, okay, things are good. I can move forward. And so I think that's amazing. It's an amazing benefit that we don't talk about all that much, but it's a really important part of training.
Yeah, it really is. And the way I look at it this is why honestly, I work out. I love it. I think it's great. But martial arts training is actually, to me, better. Why? Because not only are you getting in shape, releasing your endorphins, clearing your head, you're becoming more empowered. I mean, if you look good, you feel good, you're more empowered there too. But you're actually learning a skill. You're learning an applicable skill that could save your life one day. So hey, if you're going to work out, you may as well work out with some real purpose.
That's what I always say. Fitness, martial arts might be that fitness with a purpose, as opposed to other fitness techniques and things that you do. They're great for you. They're healthy. Yoga, I love yoga. Right. All those other, the treadmill, whatever, great for you. But yes, martial arts does have so many benefits that you won't find in anything else.
Well, and what I do with my training, outside of martial arts, I only relate it directly to fighting. Like if I'm doing a kettlebell workout, I make sure that these movements are going to help me have more power, have more endurance. Why? To make my jiu-jitsu or my striking better. So it's again that different mindset that a martial artist has. And the thing is that when you're walking out, okay, and you're going somewhere, you exude confidence. And that's one thing that we want to stress here, especially for women. If you exude that confidence, you walk into a boardroom, right? You walk on a beach, you walk down the street. If you exude that confidence, people are not gonna think you're weak, and then they want to go after an easier victim, and that's another thing that is a good benefit of the martial arts training.
Yeah, the posture that you gain just walking down the street, and I use it. I actively use it. You know, I'll be walking somewhere and I'll think, wait a minute, I need to look like I know where I'm going. I need to look like I know what I'm doing, and you know, like don't mess with me kind of thing. So you know, you really do gain all of those benefits of understanding, like we mentioned, time and place, but also not being a victim, showing people, don't come near me, you know. And I always tell women that one of the first things I teach them is that, hey, if someone starts entering your personal space, just yell stop. Just put your hand out and say stop, right? Loud. And they're like, well, what if they were just coming because they dropped some? No harm done. So you embarrassed yourself. Big deal.
You'll never see them again.
On the other hand, if they were coming like at you to attack you or grab you, and you're yelling stop, they're going to be like, oh, forget this. She's going to make a scene. I'm going to go somewhere else. So you have to really train women also to overcome their sense of, well, what if I embarrass myself?
Right.
Hey, I'd rather be embarrassed than attacked. So, you know, this is an important lesson.
Yes, 100%. Now, we're talking about the rising crime rate, especially in these big cities. I mean, you know, we have very close proximity to New York City, and so whoever the mayor is there, you know, kind of does affect us. We can see the city from where we are, and you know, I was hopeful with this new mayor that came in, but now I don't know. He seems to be more passionate about vegan lifestyles than the cops and the rising crime in the city. I mean, first of all, and honestly, it's indicative of who we wind up electing. I'm not going to get super political here, but I have to bring this up. When you got somebody who says the words over and over again, eat a vegan lifestyle, one, I have to really question their command of the English language with that use of grammar. It's not grammatically correct. And they're more passionate about that than they were about, you know, the two cops that recently got shot, or the young girl, you know, working in the Burger King who was killed, and the DA that he has there that wants people go away unpunished. So it's even more important that you know how to take care of yourself. You have to be self-reliant. You can't look, police are going to be there in minutes when seconds count. So you have to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things I mean, I got to stress. We as martial artists have to stress for women out there to, you know, learn how to protect yourself, and that you are not powerless.
Yeah. Some of the women that I've interviewed have, you know, provided real life examples of how important this is. Domestic violence or situations where they were attacked, that they were able to escape from, or they were able to defend themselves to a certain level. Maybe they weren't, you know, raped. Maybe they were, you know, attacked, but they were able to escape from that. This is happening. You know, there are crimes committed all the time, and that's why awareness is so important. Training is so important. I encourage all women, any age, to learn a martial art. There's so many martial arts that you can choose. You don't have to choose mine, which is just really a hybrid Tang Sudo program that I did all my life, or Taekwondo. You know, you can choose any martial art, Aikido or Arnis or Jiu-Jitsu. But there is something that every woman can find an interest in. And that martial art is going to teach them the same types of benefits that we're talking about. You know, even Tai Chi is teaching you movement. It's teaching you defense. It's teaching you, you know, so many things. So I think that one of the missions that I have is to let women know that they can learn a martial art. You can do it. And I also explain that every martial art, because sometimes women think, oh, you know, a black belt or a martial art, that's so hard. How would I even be able to do that? I'm overweight, or I'm older, or I'm too young. And I always explain, hey, it's like learning a language. You don't start off breaking boards, or you don't start off in tournaments or sparring. You start off learning basics just like you do in a language, and then you build upon it. And as you build, it doesn't seem so overwhelming, right? And I think that's a very important message to tell women, because a lot of women are just afraid of taking a self-defense class. They're afraid of learning a martial art because they don't understand how it really works.
Well, so, I see a twofold problem, like what you just mentioned. You know, and what I explain to people, I say, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, if you want to go, you want to train for a marathon, you don't run 26 miles the first day, you know, or think you're never going to make it. You start with a mile and then you build up. The other thing is that, you know, and I think this is a common theme in this country, especially, is people need to get their priorities straight. Okay. You know, women will spend $800 on a coach purse, and yet they don't want to spend $150 a month to go to a martial arts gym. You know, they'll spend $400 in their hair, but won't. They say, "Oh no, I'm not going to do that. It's too much money." No, you know, you need to get your priorities straight. I mean, one time, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm driving into my gym, and there was a new restaurant that opened up around the corner. There was a line of people around the corner, all with their, you know, bags with bottles of wine in it, you know, and the place was super expensive. You're going for at least $300. Yeah, $300. Yet you'll spend that for one meal instead of coming and training for half the price. Now it's like,
I think that's it's true. It is. People don't understand the importance of it. That's why people like us are really important, that we can stress the fact that, hey, you have discretionary income to do other things. You can certainly, again, find a martial art that you like. I'm not going to force you to say, you know, you have to do the kind that I do, but find one and learn it, at least for a period of time. You know, if you learn one for at least a year or something, at least it's better than never learning any.
Right. You'll have at least a base that you can work off of.
Yeah. So, I mean, crime is out there, and we have to be responsible for ourselves. We have to take responsibility, as I said, to try to ensure that we're at the right place at the right time, and not, I mean, there are times when you're going to find yourself in a situation that you didn't anticipate that's going to happen. But if you can anticipate that you might be in a situation you shouldn't be, then don't go there. Don't do that. Right. You have to take responsibility. And it is very difficult for, you know, say college-aged girls who are going out on their own, or just, you know, people who figure, you know, I can do what I want. I live here. I have my freedom. I can do whatever I want, and you can. But, you know, does it place you in danger?
Right.
Those are all the kind of things that I think are important when we're talking about a lot of crime. Is you have to take responsibility, because you're not going to change a criminal, but how can you change yourself to be safer?
Yeah. You have to protect yourself. Like personal protection is a personal responsibility. So I think that's the bottom line. And you have to be prepared to deal with whatever, you know, comes your way, whether it's, you know, has to do with your physical condition, whether it has to do with self-defense, whether it has to do with your financial responsibility, whatever it is, you can't rely on other people. And this is one of the things that we really, and we are, I believe we're doing our part here, trying to push this forth and have people, you know, take responsibility. You know, the problem is a lot of people just don't want to hear that. You know, they don't want to hear it. You know, I'll let this one take care of it. Let that one take care of it. I know that you guys are in Arizona, and from what I know, that, you know, with this whole COVID thing, it's not even affecting you right now at all, and it hasn't been for quite some time. You know, your lockdowns, they stopped them pretty quickly out there, right?
Yeah, we haven't had that, but the mask things come and go, and, you know, the different things come and go. But right now it's not too, you know, it's kind of lenient right now.
Well, you know, but you have to look at it too. If you look at any of the statistics associated with the COVID pandemic and so forth, you look at most of the people that died, even people that are vaccinated. The CDC released a statistic where 75% of the vaccinated people, so even they did what they're supposed to do, had 4 or more comorbidities. Okay, so And if you look at most of the deaths, was it
Yeah.
94% of the deaths, people had about 3 comorbidities, average of 3 comorbidities. I mean, these comorbidities are all related to what? Sedentary lifestyle,
Yeah.
obesity.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're training a martial art and you're kicking, punching, you're working out hard, you're going to be
Mhm.
losing weight and helping yourself boost your immune system. So, I mean, that's another thing that a martial art is going to do for you. It's going to
Yeah.
help your immune system. And I'll tell you, and you think differently when you train. You react better. You are naturally more alert. Even if you're not, out there like I was a professional bodyguard and a bouncer, so I was out there using the stuff actually all the
Mhm.
time. But even if you're not doing that, you're naturally more aware just because of the awareness of your body, the awareness of your environment. And even though, like, I know Tang Soo Do, I trained in Tang Soo Do for a while as well. I know, you do some very, you know, intricate kicks, so forth. And even if you're never going to use that in a self
Mhm.
defense situation, which I would never recommend anyone does, but what are you doing? You're learning about your body. You're
Yeah.
learning the limits of your body. You're learning how to use your body. You're developing your balance and general spatial and body awareness. And that in a self defense situation is so useful to you.
Right. It is. It really is. And that's why I love, I do kicks and empowerment statements with my kicks because
Yeah.
I want to show women that, no matter how old you are, you don't have to kick just like me or high or anything like that. But you do need to do something physical, and martial arts are the perfect thing for you. If I can do them, I'm like the ordinary woman. If I can do it, you can do it. And I think that's just a great example that, you and I can be examples for others to say, hey, we are, well, you're a little more extraordinary than me. I'll give you that. We are people just like you, and we can do it. And if we
Yeah.
can, you can.
It,
It's important to know.
it's funny. I always think, well, gosh, if I can do it, everyone can do it. But, I've always been an athlete, always been a fighter, always had that
Mhm.
background. But you didn't. You didn't. You came there when you were later in life,
Yeah.
and you actually became a leader in martial arts,
Yeah.
which is it's even so your story is actually a little bit more attractive than mine because people are like, oh, I'll never be like him. But I say, gosh, well, maybe I could do this. Look, she started off wasn't an athlete, and then
Right.
became this incredible martial artist. So so sometimes you may be more attractive than me in that aspect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm more of the average person who started, I guess I was like 26 when I began.
yeah,
And, it wasn't really until I guess 9 years ago is when I actually really started promoting myself, partially because I was writing a blog and I wanted some
hmm
exposure and then started writing books and wanted, so
so
again, it's not an easy thing to do to promote yourself a
no,
lot. It's,
yeah.
it's a lot of work and it's also tedious and it's also, there's haters out there. I mean, how could
Oh
someone hate
God,
me? But
yeah.
they do because I'm on social media.
Right. It's so
um,
funny.
but yes, you don't have to be like me and be out here talking about what you do. You can just learn a martial art and have your great
Well,
life, and that's good too.
it does take a lot of guts to go out there too. Because you have to have a thick skin. I
Yeah.
remember, I put out a thing called the Advanced Russian Kettlebell Workout. Okay, so advanced. Okay, that's what it says, and it was an advanced Russian kettlebell workout. And someone gave me a bad rating on it. It said, "Oh gosh, I didn't. It said advanced, but I didn't know how advanced it was. I couldn't do any of the moves." Okay, it says advanced.
Yeah.
So you don't know who's going to hate on you. And it
Yeah.
could be for a completely like just terrible reason, and you just have to shrug it off. Which I commend you for that because that especially you said you were a little reserved and shy, but you put yourself out of that comfort zone, and that's
Mhm.
one thing that people have to understand is that what, don't be afraid to put yourself out. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to get out of that comfort zone. So because I know you've written a couple of books, so 3 books. So can you tell us a little bit about your books that you have out?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've written 3 books. The first one is called The Martial Arts Women. None of them are technique related books. I leave the techniques more to the experts like you to talk about. But the Martial Arts Woman book, I interviewed more than 25 women who wrote chapters for the book. And then the other half of the book is about my personal experiences as a woman in martial arts. So it's very empowering, a lot of different kinds of stories in there that you don't expect, and a great platform for just like average women like me who are in martial arts and how they overcame situations in their lives. It's an empowering, motivational type book.
Yeah.
The second book is called Martial Art Inspirations for Everyone, which is like a series of anecdotes or like daily little reads that you can do that talk about how I applied martial arts to my life, like actual life situations, and how you can do it too. Kind of like little snippets of encouragement and examples of how I use martial arts more than just the physical form of martial art, but in my life to overcome barriers. And
it's funny because I've always just let me jump in on it. I want to comment on it for you because martial arts is a microcosm of life. And the what you learn in martial arts, like you said, can be applied to everyday life. Successes, failures, elation, whatever. They're all it's all in the martial arts.
It is.
And now your third book?
It's very parallel to life, and you can see those parallels as you go through life also. And the third one is called How to Start Your Own Martial Art Program. My husband and I had a martial art program for many years, several programs at several different times. And it's just a how-to book for those who want to start their own, maybe not a full-fledged school. Like they don't want to lease, they don't want to do that, but they want to teach at a YMCA, or they want to teach at a rec center, or they want to teach at a yoga studio, or have various locations. This kind of gives them the step-by-step approach to starting that program, what they need to consider. So it is a how-to kind of business book, really. It's what they need to consider about space or location or how many students or what are your goals or what's your business plan. And it's a fairly short book, but like chock full of information. Here's how to write a handbook. Here's how to do this. Here's how to get started, how to market, how to retain students. And so that's the third one that I wrote.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Well, look, seems that everything you're doing out there is to help others.
It is. Yeah.
It really is. And that's one of the reasons that we have our podcast here. We're trying to help other people out, bringing things to the forefront, having on guests like you that can, maybe shed a new light or give it a different perspective on something, and maybe attract some people to the martial arts, to something that's going to help them to become empowered.
Yeah. Yeah. My goal really is, my overall mission is to make the world a better place through martial arts and positivity. And that's really what I focus on in pretty much everything that I do.
That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Do you have any projects or programs that you're doing right now that you'd like to speak to? Or
I'm really not working on any like martial art related projects. I'm not teaching right now. When I moved to Tucson 3 years ago, I kind of stopped doing the programs that I was teaching. So no, I just say my podcast, the Martial Arts Women podcast. I also, do a couple of other things on Facebook. One is called Authentic Self with Andrea Harkins, and that's not really martial art related. It's more about learning to be the true person that you're meant to be, and whether martial arts are in there, that's great. But it helps me, and it's sort of my journey as well as others on focusing on who it is that they want to be in their lives and how to get there and how to push like the fears aside and how to work through the obstacles. And so of course mindset is a big part of that. So you'll find I'm always working on something.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's maybe not martial arts, but martial arts inspired, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrea, well, thank you for being our guest today. It was a true pleasure to have you on the Master Phil in Your Corner podcast, and we hope to see you again in the future. And Doug, anything else?
Great job, guys. It's a great episode.
Yeah,
very informative. Good stuff, guys.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I had a wonderful time. So thanks.
All right.
For
That's
our
another
sign-out.
episode of Master Phil in your corner.
Strength and honor.